throw more resources and money at the problems, you throw more effort at trying to fight your unhappiness or whatever it is that you're doing, is not the way to improve on it. You don't try and stop the hate, you can just spread the love. You know what I'm saying?
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 80 of the Andrew Deitch podcast. Let's just take a moment to let that sink in. 80 episodes. Can't believe it. Thank you to all of you guys who have been here since day one. I appreciate you guys so much. Just to give a little update, back in the beginning of the year, the download numbers were kind of falling a little bit, and to be honest, like, it was kind of getting me down a little bit, you know. I was like, you know, are people not liking it? Are people not listening as much, you know? But I think it was just the holidays, because this entire week, every day, there's been over 1,000 people listening to the podcast, which is very, very exciting. That honestly blows my mind, and can't give you guys enough thanks for being so supportive. But anyways, if this is your first time joining me here, thanks for checking this show out. My mission here is to have meaningful, open, transparent conversations with the most interesting, influential, and fascinating people that I know. I do all my podcasts in person, and the fact that we're at 80 episodes is still pretty amazing. The fact that I've been able to get in contact and link up with 80 people in person is pretty fantastic. So as you guys know, ever since I started this podcast, it wasn't about the money, but we have talked about how this show will stay funded. And there's many ways to go about this. Some people are crowdfunded. Some people have a business that the podcast drives traffic to. But the most popular way that most podcasts make money is through sponsorships. I've kept my eyes open for a sponsorship that makes sense for my audience, and I can feel confident putting my name on. And that's why when my friend Brooke Watson with Keller Williams Chattahoochee North approached me about being the first sponsor of the show, I actually took her seriously. And I've known Brooke personally for the past 10 years. She's just one of those people that when she wants something, she goes and gets it. And that's what I've always respected about her. And when she decided to pursue her career in real estate, I knew that she would absolutely kill it. And to be honest, I'm not that knowledgeable about real estate, but recently some friends and I have been working on a secret project that involves finding some properties, and within a few minutes, Brooke had a bunch of great locations for us to check out. She went above and beyond to help us cast the vision of how we could use each space. I'll tell you guys more on that later as things progress, but I was seriously impressed with how quickly she helped us. And so this is the first podcast that she's sponsoring, the first episode. And so I just kind of want this to be a quick introduction about Brooke, not to bombard you with information, but over the coming weeks, you'll be hearing more and more about her and how she can help you. And I just want to be totally clear that this is a paid sponsorship, but I fully endorse Brooke and her services to anyone. If you want to support the show, please consider using Brooke Watson with Keller Williams Chattahoochee North for any future real estate needs, whether you're looking to get into your first property, maybe you're selling your home, maybe you're looking to invest in properties. She'll be able to help you or connect you with the right people. So go check out her website. It's BrookeWatson.House. It's one of those cool, those really cool new extensions for websites. It's not .com, it's .house. Again, if you want to work with Brooke and support the show, go check out her website, BrookeWatson.House. That's BrookeWatson.House. Fill out some quick contact info and start your journey now. So thanks again to Brooke Watson with Keller Williams Chattahoochee North for sponsoring the show and allowing me to continue to have this awesome show. So we're out of the ad zone. That was great. I'm going to do my absolute best to make the sponsorship ads very valuable and very unique every time, not repetitive, hopefully not feel intrusive. I want you guys to be pumped. So if you have any feedback about how I can make future ads more engaging or entertaining, please don't hesitate to reach out so that we can keep this entire experience amazing for everybody. I'm going to actually have Brooke come on and do some of the ads with me, maybe share some stories of how she's helped people in the past, maybe answer some common real estate questions. We've got some really creative ideas on how we want to pursue this. But anyways, let's get into the show. So episode 80, pretty significant milestone, I would say. So that's why I invited my friend Owen Lutz to come back on the show for the third time. He's actually the first guest to be invited back for a third time, and that's because I always have effortless fun and intriguing conversations with him. He's one of the happiest and funniest guys that I know. And over the past few years, I've seen him develop into an extremely successful entrepreneur, digital marketer, motivational speaker, an awesome husband, and so much more. He was my guest on episode 10 and episode 42. So this was kind of a big break for us, like almost 40 episode break. So if you haven't already, I would definitely go check out episode 10 to hear his whole story and his background and all that. He's got a very interesting background. But if you follow me on Facebook, you could have actually watched this whole one live since we did a Facebook Live during the whole thing. So we got a little bit of live feedback during the episode, which was pretty cool. But anyways, I'm going to shut up now. Please give it up for my friend Owen Lutz. Chilling with my friend Owen.
Holy shit, look at that hawk. No joke. That thing is massive. That is a falcon.
Dude, that thing is
That
huge.
thing is massive.
Oh, man, the live stream went down.
Well, that's a pretty good little live stream we had for a second.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just
Sorry.
going to go on... the old cellular connection and waste my data. It's all good. All right, so if you're listening to this right now, hello, everyone. Well, obviously, you're listening to this right now because you're listening to this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That is such a weird thing, too. It's like, if you're listening to this, well, obviously you are.
But you kind of have to say that. If you're recording yourself, then you have to mention the listener in the beginning. It's usually kind of...
Yeah, it's weird. So
Well,
we're
we
recording
should do
this
it.
at Owen's apartment. Yeah, you might... Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. Clip your mic, clip them together. That's genius.
That way it stays
That way
off.
it doesn't rub against the
Yeah.
shirt, too. Perfect.
Hope
So
I'm coming across
we are
clearer.
recording. We're recording this in Owen's apartment here. Fun fact: I record all of my podcasts in person, so not all of them are recorded at my place. You know, sometimes people think, "Oh, Andrew has this recording studio, and everyone comes to him." But actually, I've got a pretty dope portable setup here.
Oh, yeah.
And we just record into these little lav mics that clip onto our shirts, and that's how we do it. But yeah, that song was amazing. Chillin' with my friend Owen. Oh shit, look at that hawk.
Yeah, no joke. No, it's still there. It's just hanging out over there right now, and I'm just ecstatic. I just finished a book, The Alchemist. Have you read it?
No, I haven't read that, but I've heard about it.
It's outstanding. I loved it. I thought it was a beautiful one. But yes, I can play Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, play it real fast for us. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock and roll for the rock and rollers.
So for people that are listening to this in the future, hello. We're on Facebook Live right now. So if we start interacting with people on the stream, that's what we're doing there. But anyways, Owen Lutz, no stranger to the Andrew Deitch podcast.
No, round 3.
This is round 3 of the Andrew Deitch podcast, which is pretty some Dragon Force. This is pretty remarkable because this is also episode 80.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Which
Congratulations.
I really can't believe I'm at episode 80. It's kind of absurd a little bit, but anyways, Owen, if people haven't gone and listened back to the other podcasts, who are you?
Youngest of 7. That's always the first thing I've said. That's usually a big thing for people.
It's kind of interesting
Tough
that
for them
that's
to
how you
grasp.
associate yourself.
I'm actually not Irish, and I'm not Catholic. Everyone always asks, "Oh, are you Irish Catholic?" No,
Because you're a ginger?
'Cause I'm a ginger, and I have a bunch of siblings. So they're like, "Oh, you must be, Irish Catholic." But it's like, no, I'm actually I'm basically just a European Presbyterian. Well, I guess my family background.
What is your genetic
No,
background?
it's I'm trying.
Or not genetic. What would that be?
It was basically all England, I think.
England.
It's like
England is my
dad's. Yeah. And I put on for my city, so I got to. No, my dad did the ancestry DNA thing, which, now that I think about it, is a little weird to do, because they're definitely in the agreement. They're definitely just like, we get to keep all of the information that makes you you, which is a little weird to think about, because all we are is information and all we have is information. So to give up all of what you are to somebody, when they say it's like, we just get to keep that seems a little weird. But
it is weird.
And so now my dad knows that he's a hopelessly white dude. He's just like straight out of England.
Have you heard about this is kind of unrelated, but have you heard about that girl on Instagram? I think her name is wove or something like that. And she's this she's a white girl that claims that she's black. And she keeps posting, "What up, Mitch?" Mitch said the homies.
The homies.
She claims that she's black, and she's very blatantly not. And she keeps posting fake Ancestry.com pictures saying that she's black. And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about,
slowly.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole mess, but
yeah,
it's kind of like one of those like Rebecca Black situations with like the Friday song, where it's like everyone's just laughing at her.
Yeah.
And she doesn't realize that, and she thinks she's famous, and everyone's just like cringing super hard.
Yeah. No, isn't that the worst? People that can't decipher cringe from like interest.
Xavier said, does she use the N-word? I think she started doing that. I think she got ballsy enough and started using that in her in her videos. In her videos, it's all on Instagram. It's very ratchet.
At what point do videos become vlogs? Is it when a white girl pretending to be a black girl says the N-word? Is that considered a vlog? Or is that just a girl making a video?
That's actually the only criteria of a vlog. Of a vlog.
Yeah.
So she's the only vlogger in existence, actually. No, I would say that a vlog, well, let me school you kids. So a vlog is a video blog, right? And a blog was just typing out words on a screen, Hey, hi, Brooke. Whoa, that was amazing. So
pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Oh, wow.
No, you also like Jinx, so like you can't talk.
I'll get you a Coke later, sir.
But you're not allowed to talk because of the Jinx. Until you give me a Coke, you're not allowed to even say anything. Welcome to the Owen Lutz podcast. I have jinxed Andrew, so now he's no longer allowed to speak, which is pretty sweet. So, I guess I might let that slide. You can go on.
I was just going to let that ride as long as you wanted it to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like, I saw that you were committed to it, so I figured I'd let you off the leash early. Because I appreciate that. I appreciate the good work.
Well, I'm glad that we got that settled, because I wanted to talk.
Yeah, good.
But, anyways, so a vlog is a video blog. A blog was just a place where people could like kind of stream of consciousness, tell their thoughts and stuff. And blogging got like super popular in like the early days of the internet, kind of, because video wasn't as much of a thing. And then there was vloggers that were like, I'm going to do a daily blog, but it's going to be in a video form. So it's called a vlog. I don't know who coined the term. And there was like early days guys that then started doing like daily vlogging, and that's become like a whole thing.
That's
too.
what I mean. That's how Gary Vaynerchuk became who he was.
And that vlogging wasn't even like a term then. Yeah. It was just like a show. I think he was just like it was the Wine Library TV.
Yeah, television. He was calling it television as he recorded it.
Mm-hmm. And that's an interesting subject of itself, because I made a kind of controversial post recently about radio versus TV. Did you see that on Facebook? Mm-mm. So it was a status basically saying how I was putting a hard line in the sand and saying that I am not interested in being on TV. I'm not interested in being on the radio. I'm not interested in being a part of traditional media at all. And those are dying mediums, and there's other mediums that are the way of the future. Podcasts are the way of the future. Facebook Lives are the way of the future. Like all kinds of stuff is just being replaced. And I didn't think it was that controversial of a subject. Oh, what up, Matt B. Davis? Matt B. Davis is in the live.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was that controversial. Matt actually commented in there. Matt said, the ugliest guys I know. Matt has a... Owen's going to go... Matt has a trend of calling my beard very creepy, and also Owen's beard very creepy because we both have red beards, I think. I don't know.
I'm doing this for you, Andrew. If it was any other circumstance and that dude shows up, I'm out. Do you hear me? Any other circumstance, I'm out, but I like this guy, so I'm going to stick around.
But anyways, so what were we talking about? So that Facebook post that I made, we were talking about radio and TV being the way of the past, and Matt actually commented in there and was basically agreeing and saying that, radio is kind of dying. But the thing is radio itself, the medium, like spreading ideas over radio waves, is dying, but the idea of spreading ideas and communication over audio is only like ever increasing.
Oh yeah.
And it was hilarious how much like hate I got on that post. And
it's the brainwashings.
It was a little bit weird. One thing that I was a little bit nervous about making that post about, Owen is way creepier than Andrew. Wow, Matt B. Davis is like Matt is like the ultimate troll, basically.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I gotta get out of here.
But I think the thing that was kind of holding me back from posting that status was I know a lot of my friends actually work in traditional media. Like I have friends that work in TV, friends that have their shows on the radio, friends that aspire to have their shows on the radio, and I was a little bit nervous about making that post because I didn't want to offend them, but at the end of the day, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to be polarizing and post it.
Good.
But it was interesting how much controversy I kind of like ruffled up because people are scared of change, I think.
Yep. I can support that. I also think that the traditional media outlets are using the same tactics that social media is using to get you addicted to the app and your phone, and like how everything's just working to try and keep you addicted and engaged, that people are going to think that those are their ideas in arguing that traditional media is good. And I think that that's actual brainwashing. Like just to the point where you think that you actually like it.
That's
When
interesting.
it's like it's not actually it's not actually the media side, and how they do things isn't the 20% that actually makes you want to do it. It's a weird synapses and firing of neurons in your brain that makes you want to enjoy it.
It's like a pathway.
Yeah. It's like just, so there's the 80-20 rule of everything is states that, like the Pareto law is that at any data point, if you're looking at any point in time, you can look at the data and see that like 20% of the input has generated 80% of the result. Right? Mm-hmm. Saying that only a little bit of anything is what makes up the majority of everything. Oh gosh, just like the things that are actually making you think that you want to be on Facebook and that you want to be watching us live right now. You think that it's like the personal engagement, but what's really is like the little tiny feelings of personal engagement that Facebook gives you when they say that someone posted on this group that you're a part of. It's like those notifications are not actually directly related to you, but they trigger the same feelings, and those are the ones that make you keep coming back. And it's not actually
you don't actually get like an authentic feeling, but it's like a little
jolt they're giving you, and that's what is like gets you addicted to make you think that we should like support social media and like support Facebook. Like for the longest time, I was doing these lives, daily, and I was always on social media, always trying to grow my brand that way, but I quickly recognized that maybe not quickly, and maybe this isn't even a fully developed thought yet, but the idea is that like it's not real, and if they really are triggering you with so many little things, then going live is I'm just helping Facebook addict people to that, when it's like I want to do more with like realness.
That's
so
actually...
I've been stepping away from social media more and more and just trying to figure out what's gonna be the 20% in my life that'll lead to the 80% of the future lifestyle that I want. And I don't think that it needs to be spending all my time on a similar platform that's just like fake firing off these happy bits in my brain.
That's actually really interesting. Like, is social media forming real relationships, or is it like just a giant scheme to make Facebook more money.
Right, so it's...
And like lure you into ads.
It's definitely both. I've definitely met a ton of people on Facebook that I thoroughly enjoy. I think they're great humans. So I think that part's definitely there. Like, it's definitely real. But for the most part, if you go through the data, it's probably not the majority of the time you're not making real relationships. Then I would be missing out on, Landon Porter and Andrew Holland, a couple other awesome dudes I've met online that I think.
That's actually true. I think it all kind of boils down to intent. Gary Vee talks about this a lot, is like the intent of it. Like, if your intent is just to gain more money in your business or whatever, you're probably not going to form that many real relationships on Facebook. Mm-hmm. One thing that was kind of interesting recently for me that I was dealing with yesterday was Instagram changing their algorithm. And for me on my podcast, a lot of my traffic, especially in the beginning, was people clicking the link in my bio on my Instagram profile, because I created like a new profile just for the podcast.
Nice.
And one of my strategies that I would do is whenever I had a new guest on, I would go like, okay, so if I had you on my podcast, which I did obviously, and I've had you on, this is the third time, I would go to your profile and go engage with all your followers. So I'd go follow them. I'd start liking some of their pictures. Yeah. So then when I typically wouldn't comment, but I think I'm going to start doing that more, because Instagram is weighing a lot more comment heavy stuff now. But I'll get to that in a second. So like I said, one thing that I would do is I would go engage with your followers so that they would see my profile and be like, oh, who is this? What is this AD podcast thing? They'd click on it and see your face right up there on the most recent thing. In the profile description, it says, check out the latest episode with Owen Lutz right here. Yeah. And they're like, oh, cool. This guy had Owen on the podcast or whatever. Yeah, and they'd go check it out. Yeah, and that worked for a while. And it still has been working. But the thing that happened to me recently that I was realizing was, like, over the past couple weeks, my posts, like, in people's feeds have been getting, like, significantly lower likes. And I was like, am I getting shadow banned? Like, am I getting banned by Instagram? Like, is my content purposefully not being shown to my followers because I'm being, like, too spammy with liking or following and unfollowing people? Like, I wasn't sure what the deal was. But a lot of people message me saying they're weighing a lot more stuff on comments now, and my posts just aren't getting enough comments. So Facebook is viewing those posts as like less relevant because no one's engaging with it, because likes just don't really mean that much anymore.
Yeah, no, and so it always is going to boil down to questions then, like what. I saw a good Facebook stats the other day that was someone explaining like what an open loop is, and like we'll get to that in just a second. There it is. That's an open loop. Boom.
Oh, snap.
And that's like basically what his stupid Facebook stat was saying. But I thought it was a great way to kind of explain the point that an open loop is just something that you want to get people interested and engaged in.
But you're going to loop back to it later.
But you're going to loop back to it later just so it's like, so they're like wanting to stick around. So it's like at the end of each podcast, you should be like, you should come up with a question that you can ask everybody, so that on the post you'll have like a big question of the podcast that'll be answered with the next guest on the next podcast.
That's like what Gary Vee used to do on the Ask Gary Vee show. He'd be like, he would let the guest have a question of the day. Yeah? I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to do that today with you. Okay. So you better be thinking about your good question of the episode. Yeah. But so open loops is like, you're saying it's a good way of like getting people's attention and keeping them in your loop of content?
Yeah. So that's something that I learned when I was studying like Russell Brunson and a bunch of these other digital marketers that do daily emails and stuff. And so when you
a lot of people like, they would say like, oh, email's dead, email's so old. Yeah. But these guys built entire businesses off of email.
And they're still doing it. So email works if you give them a reason to check their email. If you say it's like, hey, I've got something I'm sending you via email, and then on that post you give them a reason to check the next one, then it's like, it doesn't matter what medium you're using to give them the information, as long as it's good enough to keep them and want them to see the next thing. They'll click on any button on their phone. It doesn't matter whether it's the Facebook app or the Gmail app. They'll open an app to look at information they want to look at.
Yeah, that makes sense actually, because a lot of email, I would say, is generally viewed as being pretty spammy.
Yeah, totally. It's the worst. And
Your inbox is full of spam. Yeah. But like, for example, I know a guy, I'm subscribed to his email list. His name's Adam Wenig, and he always has amazing email subject lines that always get me to open it.
Yeah.
Like was them was literally like, they touched my scrotum at the airport, and I was like, I have to read this now.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just let this go through my inbox and not be read. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty good at not reading those.
If you say,
it's like, you know what? I'll pass on the scrotum touching.
Like,
by the
you
TSA.
can't put scrotum in the title of every email and get my attention, but if you throw the word scrotum in my email,
that usually gets your attention, doesn't it?
I will open it. I will.
Easy.
I'm going to. Yeah. Maybe if it's like, check out this scrotum.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
I'm not going to click it.
You probably would. No, maybe if I threw the word like disfigured, you might click on it.
Oh my gosh.
I would probably click on it.
No, but but you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
the email, his emails are really good, and he always tells a good story.
Yeah.
Like, there's always something. And I've never even really like purchased any of his programs or done anything.
Yeah.
I just like reading his emails because they're entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, he writes good emails. Another person that writes really good email copy is my friend Ryan McGinn. He actually reached out to me yesterday in regards to the whole Instagram thing that I was talking about. And I was like, so what should I be doing? He's like, literally just copy what I'm doing because I'm crushing it. And I'm like, all right, dude. And I was like, so should I be? And he's like, literally go to my page, copy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, learn from the best. Like, I'll definitely be doing that. I thought that was a live thing. That was just Kat messaging me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to take a second to say what up to everybody in the chat. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Have you guys been noticing anything weird with Instagram recently? Like, for me, the engagement on my posts and like liking and everything has gone way down, which is weird. But I think Instagram and Facebook are kind of trying to go back to their roots of being more about friends and family. And so they're prioritizing like quote unquote business pages less, which is good ultimately for the platform, but it's unfortunate for people that are like depending on platforms like that to grow their business. But at the same time, like, Instagram and Facebook are free tools. Like,
and I also just saw a speech that Gary Vaynerchuk was giving, and he was saying to everybody that some guy was like, hey, so like, how can you create contact from like a brand's perspective? And so it's like, that's why, and his answer is the same reason why it doesn't matter that Facebook is doing things from a more personal level when that's the only thing that people are interested in. The example he used was your jean jacket is a brand, but it's not talking. There's a person behind the jean jacket, or there's a model behind the jean jacket that makes it look like it's something worthwhile.
Yeah.
So it's the people that
Yeah, you know what's super
matter.
crazy is how much. What's up? My dad's watching. How's it going, Dad?
What's up, Pops?
One thing that's interesting about clothing marketing is it seems like it's all about the influencers that you can land, like people.
That's gonna be the only thing that matters for the longest time.
Like, I don't know if you've heard of the brand Gymshark recently. They're like a fitness brand. Lots of like girls definitely know what I'm talking about out there. Guys, it's not as so popular, but like. I think it started off as a guy's clothing line pretty much, but dude, like, they are starting to take over as far as like yoga pants and like leggings and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I see so many people at the gym wearing Gymshark, and just going through their Instagram, it's all about the influencers. It's all about who's wearing Gymshark.
Yeah.
Because you see someone that you aspire to be like, or you see an influencer. I kind of hate that word, like influencer. They're just a person at the end of the day, but somebody who is like commanding a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And if you want to wear whatever they're wearing, like I talked earlier about Casey Neistat. Like, if Casey Neistat started wearing Gymshark, I might be, that's not really on brand for him, but I would be like, damn, like Casey looks good in those Gymshark
Yeah.
pants. You know what I mean?
So
like, I think it's weird how much influencers, quote unquote, have an impact on that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think.
Are you an influencer, Owen?
No, I don't think so. I don't think...
Dude, everyone on this stream right now wants this Super Bowl hoodie.
Well, I was about to say, like, I am not so easily influenced by what other people are doing or wearing. I've been wearing basically this exact outfit for, 4 years now.
I think you wore that hoodie the last time we did a podcast.
Yeah, I believe I did. I believe I wore this every day in between these two podcasts as well.
You're like Steve Jobs.
And yeah, I'm like Steve Jobs in that way.
Dude, you're such a genius.
Not even a little bit. But what I do have is these shoes that I got from Goodwill for $6 that fit perfectly. And I do have like 9 pairs of shoes now, which I've been switching out, but I got them all for like $6 at Goodwill, which is sweet.
There's some pretty sweet perforated leather Vans.
Yeah,
they're
pretty dope. They're pretty dope. It's no big deal, but
I like the perforation.
All just to say that
it's not about you don't want to copy anyone else.
Right. So it's not I'm not even thinking about copying anybody else. I'm not even concerned about what other people are doing, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your own opinion. The only thing that matters in like all of how you perceive reality is the way that you are perceiving it. It's the way that you are thinking about it that matters. So it doesn't, and it's like,
and you're married, so you're not like trying to reel in the ladies. I'm
trying to reel in my lady. You know
That's
what I mean?
True. That's true.
And,
that's very true.
And so it's like while I'm not like, trying hard to like wear the coolest things, I do try and make sure that like I look good and that I'm presentable all the time. Whenever we go out, I want to make sure that like I'm giving her my arm and I'm opening the door. I'm doing all my stuff. So I'm definitely still chasing my lady. That's for sure.
That's good to hear.
But,
that's good to hear.
It's also good that she is not like looking at me like, you wore that hoodie yesterday. She cares less about my clothes than I do. It's awesome.
That's great.
You know what I mean? So it's we've built a good relationship there, I think.
That's good. I feel like there's definitely some weirdness when it comes to that once you're like in a relationship, like you don't dress up for me anymore and blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate like trying to look good for your significant other, all that kind of stuff, but it is kind of funny how like some people base, I think, a little too much.
Way too much. It's something that those are the type of people that don't have that might lose it every once in a while when it comes down to like thinking about themselves in a positive light and actually having like a burning happiness inside them. Like that's for me. I'm super happy all the time. I got no complaints. The trees are giving off oxygen. We're giving off carbon dioxide. I don't think that we're missing anything. In fact, that's going to be our question of the podcast. What if you're not missing anything? What if you're fine? What if there's no problems other than the ones you make up? Like, what if it's all good? What if you just like treat yourself properly and just like recognize that all is good all the time? That all is good.
Interesting. So I know that earlier we were talking. You were saying that you find that you have a lot of happiness, quote unquote. Yeah. I'm doing air quotes for the people listening to this only. What do you think? And you've noticed that it seems like everybody else is kind of struggling with finding happiness. And, people would say like, well, that's easy for you to say, Owen, you have an awesome wife and you have a cool apartment and they can say all these excuses of why you're happy, but they're not. But at the same time, there's a lot of excuses you could make why you're not happy. I wish I had a house instead of an apartment.
Yeah.
I wish I had more money to buy a cooler car. I wish I had cooler clothes. So what do you think makes you happy versus being unhappy?
So overall it's just it's a philosophy that I carry throughout life. It's something that like I actively have built up this way of thinking that has taken over, how I live now. And it's just that I don't ask any of those questions about other people's lives. When the way you started this little segment of this was saying, so what do you say to people who say something like, like, but you have all this, and like you have all that, and like
well, of course it's easy for you to be happy.
Yeah, it's easy for you, with like, because you have this and you have that, and you know what my response is? Yes, I do. I have that. I have the perfect wife. I have the perfect life. I have a beautiful day. Even when it's raining, I can see the beauty in it. It's like I have all of it. And that's the thing. It's like you can look at yourself and think to yourself, yeah, I have all of it. It's like you just look at what you have and it's all yours. You're the only one even perceiving it from your reference. You're the only one, like when it comes down to relativity, and like we all hear the truck passing by at a different frequency. So it's like a different perspective. It is a different sound that we're hearing.
Totally. Jim said happiness is a choice. Hashtag happiness is a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can agree with that. You know,
so it's just like a way of
flipping the script.
Don't point at anybody else and be like, well, it's easy for you. Look, I don't have it. It's like, oh, why not?
Yeah.
You can just switch the words and say that you do.
Yeah, and
you can say that you do have happiness.
Yeah.
Instead. And it'll start creating happiness. And you'll start to recognize, because of the way neurological pathways in your brain work, you will begin to recognize other things that will make you happy because you're starting to become happy. And then all of a sudden, the freaking caterpillar that's like just crawling on the railing next to you is like the coolest thing.
That is actually crazy. You know, people, when you like appreciate the small things, people always say stuff like, dude, are you high right now? Like, are you tripped? Like,
so I've got a good story about that.
You're being childish, you know? Because like children, they notice everything and everything to them is a new experience.
Yeah.
And so like I could literally look at this water bottle and be like, holy crap. Even though this is man-made, I could be like, holy crap, somebody spent like a long time like making sure all the little grooves on this cap are correct and like making sure all the little designs in the top are correct and all this stuff. Like I could examine this for like a really long time and like be really appreciative of it.
So one of the things that I had been looking for, I got to see the other day, but I guess I'll actually tell you exactly what that was in just a second. I had went to my brother's. Well, let me just go back and talk about how I'm always looking up. I'm always looking at the sky. I think clouds are the coolest thing, and I think that the water cycle and how nature works together to create nature is the coolest thing. So I'm always looking for little nuances in nature that like I want to see. And one of those is like I love looking at birds, and like I even screamed about how I saw a falcon, or a hawk that has flown away from us now. But I was like, I loved it. I was like, that's a huge beast of a thing.
Yeah.
And I think nature's the coolest. So either way, my brother recently got married, and I got to be one of the groomsmen. So I got to stand up, and it was a beautiful day, beautiful couple. We had an amazing family all out in Old Norcross. We went to Flint Hill. And me and my brothers had all worked there, so like we knew the staff and like we had been there a whole bunch. So it was a really awesome day for all of us. And because it was so beautiful outside, I was looking up and during the ceremony, enjoying the beautiful day, and didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I'm just smiling, having a good time, chuckling a little bit, I'm sure, but just enjoying it. And then we party on, and the night continues. And towards the end of the night, my brother's wife's mother came up to me and said, hey, what were you laughing about up there? Like I saw you giggling while you're up there. And I was just thinking, oh, you know what it was? I actually saw these two birds that were flying so high up in the sky, and they flew right into a cloud and they disappeared. And I had this big goofy smile on my face, and she looked at me like, oh, you're bullshitting me, aren't you? I was like, what? No. I was legitimately ecstatic that I saw birds
fly into a cloud.
It is something I had been looking for. It's like I'd always seen these birds, and they're always flying so high, but the clouds are always just like a little bit higher. And I was curious, do birds
fly into clouds?
Because think about it, like if you are underneath a cloud and it dumps a bunch of water on you, and you look up and see, oh, that came from a cloud, the next time you're flying, are you going to think, let me just go right into this thing?
That's true.
So I was curious.
I was flying my drone into a cloud. I don't want to hit a bird.
Yeah, right. Now you know. Birds do fly into clouds, and I was ecstatic to have found the answer to that.
But
on my brother's wedding day.
But she didn't believe you.
She like almost. It's like the Little Prince, man. She didn't connect with the little kid. She couldn't understand that I was like could possibly be that ecstatic about something that stupid.
So would you say that like being happy for you is about appreciating the little things?
Yeah, it's appreciating everything. It's just straight appreciation for all of it. It's gratefulness. It's just acceptance. You know?
I like that. Yeah, I think people have, I think we've kind of talked about this theme before, but it makes a lot of sense. And I think people resonate with it is like people have too much FOMO. They have the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And there's no real reason for it.
No, and it's something that we need to cut back on significantly. If you notice that you are fearing that you're missing out on something, remind yourself and ask yourself the question, what if I'm not missing anything? What if I'm exactly like where I need to be? Because you are. Because you're there. You wouldn't be there if it wasn't exactly where you needed to be. It's how life works. It's like where you are
is where you need to be.
Yeah. It's like you're always in the right spot.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, and when you realize also how tiny you are and how you don't necessarily have control over that, that's kind of like a scary feeling for some people, but
it's something that you recognize that like that's the greatest lie ever told, is that you don't have control of that, or that at some point in time you no longer have control of where you're at. When no matter where you are, you can always look back and see the actions that brought you to where you are, and you can always choose new options of leaving, going somewhere else. It sounds drastic, but I think that I might truly believe this, that in just about any situation you can just keep walking.
There are hard situations like,
obviously,
you know, like,
forced.
I was like born with leukemia or something, you know, like, you know, there's difficult situations like that where some people will be like, well, it's easy for you to say I was born with this, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the crazy thing is actually you could argue that having some sort of quote unquote like weird disability or weird thing that only you have is actually your greatest strength.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what it's like to be you.
Nobody knows what it's like to be anybody else.
I was watching this podcast yesterday with the H3 podcast, and they had these guys on that I think their YouTube channel is called One List, One Life. And it's about this guy who has cancer and he was given one life to live, and he needs a bone marrow transplant, like really badly.
Yeah.
But it's really, really hard to find a match because it's like very, very precise, because bone marrow, like it's your white blood cells. Yeah. And if you even just have like a slight thing off, it's like a civil war inside your body. Like they won't accept it.
Yeah.
So you have to have like an exact match. So anyways, these guys, they started like a bucket list channel where basically on YouTube they're just completing this kid's bucket list.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because they've been able to do all this amazing stuff, meet all these amazing, like, not even like celebrities, like normal celebrities. They're meeting like their YouTube heroes and YouTube celebrities and stuff that they watch, and they broke the Guinness World Record for most bone marrow donors in a day or something crazy. Yeah. Like they've done all this amazing stuff. And you could say, well, like, oh man, I have cancer, and I only have 1 year left to live. I my life's over. I'm basically done, and I haven't accomplished anything.
Or you can keep walking.
Yep.
You know, keep doing something new. Keep trying to, be grateful for the things that you do have. Mm-hmm. Like instead of the things that you don't. It's a big time switch. It's also. And the right things to do when you're trying to keep walking are almost always against conventional wisdom. Whenever you think that like you need to be doing something one way or another, and you can look back on like who taught you those things and like why you believe that thing, you can almost always find that the opposite is true.
Yeah,
it's really mind blowing actually when you think about. Well, obviously that's from my perspective and like my thinking on the subject is that people think that in order to do something one way you need to. I was just reading it in the Blue Ocean Strategy. Have you read that?
I saw it on your couch here.
It's a business book about red ocean, meaning like that's a bloody competition filled waters where like competitors are just like hacking away at the same problems, trying to slightly improve on the others, and they're throwing a bunch of resources at it. They're thinking that in order to get X amount of gain, I need to use X amount of resources. But in order to like get there, you know? And the blue ocean strategy is saying that that's like what people think is like you throw more resources and money at the problems, you throw more effort at trying to fight your unhappiness or whatever it is that you're doing is not the way to improve on it. You don't try and fight, you don't try and stop the hate, you can just spread the love. You know what I'm saying? It's this idea that there's one way thing, like if you think this is the way to do it, you should probably just drop that and do the opposite. The opposite is the way to go. The flipping of the script is like a kind of something. I'm trying to think of the best way to take this idea and place it into everybody's head ever, because I feel like whether it's scanning my brain or whatever it is, I need to get these ideas and figure out the best way to get them into other people's heads, because if you can live your life by this code of appreciation and helpfulness, I don't know, I feel like everything else.
Well, I think it's all about like the pathways that you create in your brain, and you've been kind of living this. You've always been. I've known you for a really long time. You've always been like a happy guy, as far as like being goofy and being silly and making people laugh, and you know, you've always had this kind of like carefree mentality, sort of. And sometimes it bits you in the ass for sure, but also now I would say it's one of your greatest strengths. Yeah. And I think it's hard for people that are. You know, maybe they're like, well, that's easy for you, Owen. You're such an extrovert and you're crazy and wacky, and I'm just a introverted, shy, fat guy that blah, blah, blah. And so it's hard for people to see like that first step of where they can go to change their mindset, change their perspective, change how they think. Because, I mean, the way you think is the way you are, kind of, you know?
No, not even kind of. Like, by definition, the way you think is the way you perceive reality.
Totally.
Like, by definition, the firings of neurons in your brain is your perception of reality, and you are more in control of those firings of neurons than you think. And they can be manipulated over time using, you know, just sleep and conscious effort to try and redirect thoughts. You can. It's really impressive. And once you begin to learn how brains work and how these firings of neurons work together to create neurological pathways that are then coded in myelin to solidify those connections and create habits, and then to find out that while you sleep, those neurological connections are receded and different proteins are then going through that field of neurological connections in your brain, and they're picking and pulling and trashing the things that are not being used to, like, as often as they should be. So that's why I don't go do a kickflip first try anymore, is because these things have scraped my ability to do that, because I haven't thought about it in a long time. Even though I've thought about it enough giving this example that I probably still have enough of the kickflipping skateboarding thing to be able to do it first time, because I'm pretty talented, pretty gifted in that regard. So
that's interesting though.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense, because what you're saying is literally, it's not like we're just figuratively talking about pathways in the brain. It's like a literal, you're saying there's like proteins that are being...
Yes, so each, in the brain, you basically have all these things. I think they're called synapses.
That makes sense.
Or the neurons, like the actual thing. So imagine there's a field of them, right?
I'm not a doctor.
And each time something happens, like they're firing all over the place, and each time they fire, what happens is they explode, and one thing hits here, and it makes that connection. So then there's like a string going from thing to thing. And so it's like each time this is happening in our brain, it's creating, like, every time you move, there's a certain pathway that fires in a row to make sure that this is how my arms are moving. You know what I mean?
That's actually crazy.
And so then to think about it in a way that each time you do these movements, there's a thing called myelin, which is the insulator that's laid down over it, that over time, the more and more you do it, the more it lays down this stuff, which creates habits.
Wow.
So then in order to stop a habit, you can't stop it after it's been done, because you have just laid down another thing of myelin. So what you need to do is find the trigger, the first bit of that firing that launches that pathway, and before it happens, redirect it, change it somewhere else. So this idea of redirection and not like erasing and doing it backwards, you know, is the thing. It's like there's like, that's gone, it's done, it's in the past. You have to redirect the new flow of energy away from the things that you want. You can't stop the hate, you can spread the love. Redirect.
I love it. So thoughts literally are things. There are pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
I know you at one point were wearing the, what was it called? The Pavlov The Pavlov
I wasn't.
thing? Who was it? It was
Austin.
Austin
And
Distal was wearing
and
it.
the guys at Proof. And,
Yes. So our friend Austin Distal, Austin was on episode 14 of the podcast, I believe. Go check it out. I need to have him on again. He's done a lot since then.
Yeah, totally. He went from the Entrepreneur Alliance to Proof, and now he's in Y Combinator, one of the great incubators in the business world out in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Shout out Austin Distal. But one thing he was wearing was this watch device. There was a shocking mechanism. It was like a taser almost on your wrist.
Yep.
And the idea is Pavlov's dogs. You can train your brain through pain.
Yep.
And so the idea is like if I know you want to stop biting your nails. Mm-hmm. So like if you had the urge to bite your nails, you would trigger the shocking thing on your wrist, and then you'd associate the trigger of wanting to bite your nails with the shock.
And thus redirecting your brain. So I did it without the shocking, and instead of putting my fingers in my mouth, I noticed that my trigger was feeling the little nicks on my fingernails. And then from there, doing a little number where I touch all the fingertips to my thumb, rather than putting it into my mouth, it redirects that trigger so now, for the most part, when I feel a little nick,
it goes back to that.
But but I'm currently fighting 23 years, or probably about 20 years of an intense habit of really biting them down to nubs. So they're pretty short right now.
I do that too,
because
man.
I just watched Black Panther and just tore him to bits. But I'm working on it again, trying to get back to it.
Newsflash, Black Panther makes...
It's a nail biter.
It's a nail biter. Wow, I'm stupid. I'm dumb. Yeah. That was funny.
It's pretty good though. Right?
That was good. I haven't seen Black Panther. Was it good?
I mean, let's be honest. It was not the best It did not live up to the hype that I was excited for. It was kind of
maybe there was too much hype.
There was a little too much hype, but
if you went into it with no hype, was it
interesting? Yeah, I bet it would be good if you didn't know about like what you were gonna see. But I was expecting like way more action, and like the action that you did get was not as dope or as intense as I was hoping it was gonna be. Everything kind of built up and then fizzled rather than having any big climax of battles. So I guess that would kind of be my review of Black Panthers, that it kind of built up. Even in the movie itself, kind of built up and then fizzled a little bit for me. I thought Killmonger was kind of a bitch.
I haven't seen it, so I'll have to give my full review, but it's definitely on my list. Jamie wants to know what's your opinion on The Greatest Showman. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I loved The Greatest Showman. I thought the music could be better, for sure. It was just like one long pop song that was all the same. But I thought the acting was great. I think Zac Efron is crazy talented.
I literally didn't see it.
Do you know?
I don't think I've seen a movie.
I think the two guys, the two guys that are in it,
Zac Efron
and
the other
Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, and I think they do a great job together. And I think that it's.
I always want to make a pun of his name.
One. Are you making fun of me by asking me if I saw The Greatest Showman?
No. I think he was legitimately asking.
Okay, good.
No, because The Greatest. I was gonna say I heard it was really good, but I haven't seen it. I haven't gone to the movies in a long time. I think the last time I went to the movies was for, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I think I'm being serious. It might have been for the last for episode 7 Star Wars. Like, I haven't gone to the movies in so long.
Like, what was that?
That was like Rogue 2 years ago.
Or?
No, before Rogue One.
Oh, yeah?
The one before it. The one where it had
with Kylo Ren?
Yep, with Kyle.
Kyle Ren.
The wide boy. Anyways, so what were we talking about before that? We were saying like synapses and stuff like that in the brain, or like
the
pathways and the Pavlov watch thing. So the interesting thing about the Pavlov watch thing is it's like taking this experiment and doing experiments on yourself. Mm-hmm. I wonder, like, I like how you were saying you can't just like stop yourself from doing a habit. You have to like replace it with something else. Yeah, which makes sense.
And another kind of underlying concept to that whole flow of ideas is that what's happened has happened and it's gone. To recognize that the past is gone and it's like over with, done with, other than the memories inside of each individual's brain and how they perceive it, and then the stories they're proceeding to write about that past. the actual past itself is gone, and now the stories are all being changed and redeveloped inside of everybody's brain using all of the information that they've ever had. So it's like it's not even it's not even being held anywhere in an accurate form. The past is gone, and to think to yourself and to recognize that what's gone is gone and over with can be something that can really propel you into a positive outlook when you go to redirect the things that you want to be done with, to recognize that it's like, sweet, it happened, it did happen, and it is gone. It has happened, it is over, and is gone, and now I can move forward. Now I can redirect and do the things that I want to do.
That's interesting. So how do you not dwell on the past? Like, a lot of people, they get really caught up in shit that's happened to them or things that happened to them, and they really get caught up in that. And I think there's like a beauty in being able to talk about the past.
Yeah.
Like, once you kind of get it out and explain yourself to someone else, another human, it's easy to move past things, but sometimes it's hard for people to like move on.
So one of the big ones for me was actually a song by Fish called Character Zero. And it's like, the lyrics go that I was taught a month ago. Well, now I'm trying to think of the lyrics faster, and they take a long time to get the words out. But I was taught a month ago to bide my time and take it slow, and now I learned just yesterday that to rush and never waste a day. And now I'm convinced that all day long that all I learned is always wrong. Because it doesn't matter at any point in time, you can't take information that you learned in one situation and say that wholeheartedly this bit of information is invariably true in this new situation. It's like that. The way you're thinking about things is it's comforting to me to know that like the things that caused me grief and pain in my life in the past are simply the firing of neurological pathways in my brain that is telling me that these things were bad, and then I continue to look back and try and refill in the bits of the story that aren't there in my head, and I end up creating this big fake truth about how a certain situation went down and why I should be upset about it and why it should affect the way I act in the future, and it's all just bullshit. So to recognize that the things you think that are bringing you down are made up of ill-formed stories written about incomplete memories. How about those fucking apples?
Very fascinating.
You're wrong. Like, don't worry about it. You were wrong in the past. You're wrong right now. And that's okay, because life goes on and you're not missing anything else. It's like, we just are incomplete to grasp the entirety of what is fucking happening to us on this rock spinning through space, and that is okay. And to go through forward knowing that the past is gone and you are actually way more in control than you think, to recognize that the greatest lie is that fate will one day take over and you're no longer in control, and to recognize that the way life works is a redirection of things and not a stopping and changing. All of these things compile my great philosophy, which allows me to be ridiculously happy, and I need everyone here to grab it and shove it into your ear holes.
I love it. I wanted to take a second because Graham Curry's in the stream right now. Graham Curry. Also, what up, Pam? How's it going, Pam?
I feel like Graham's actually probably a big part of this philosophy of mine.
I literally was about to... That's why I wanted to interject it.
Yes. Graham's the man.
Graham is the man. And I wanted to give a shout out to Graham because Graham actually had both of us on his podcast back in the day, and that was really, really cool for us. And I'm actually going to be releasing an episode of Graham's podcast. Anyways, you'll hear about it later, but we just wanted to say what up to Graham. But what were you going to say was Graham was kind of a part of that story? What were you going to say about that?
Graham just is a philosopher, in his own rank. Just ever since we were little, he always had a greater understanding of things than I did. I was just like, let's run really, really fast. And Graham was like,
take
go
it
for
easy.
it. Yeah, Graham was like, we could do that if you want. Whatever. Either way, Graham was the man, but
Graham says, what's up?
What's up, Graham? I also vividly remember one time riding our bikes through the Peachtree Station neighborhood pool and talking about how, I think we were probably 13 or 14. I was talking about, I wanted to get some beer. Let's try and get drunk or something. And just thought to myself, not to myself, but I was telling Graham, we should go do adult things. And Graham was just riding his bike and nonchalant. I was just like, we got time for that. We can do that later. We're young. I was like, okay. I love it. You know, he had a great understanding of like where we were at, and that type of thing is one instance that rubbed off on me. Also telling me not to jump off of the gazebo. Things like that. He had a big impact on my life.
Yeah,
so he's a great guy for sure.
Not to make this whole episode about Graham, but another thing that was kind of interesting about
we should do an entire podcast just about Graham.
It's just called the Graham Cast.
The Graham Cast.
No, but
and we eat graham crackers.
That would be amazing. But one thing that let's jump off the gazebo. Owen at age 9. That's amazing.
No, and with like a whole radio boombox sized video camera.
Yeah.
That I was like, I ran it over to his house. Like, hey, hold this. Let me jump off this gazebo.
That's hilarious. One thing that I was gonna say about Graham was that was like one of my first impressions of Graham was that he ran for class president, and I was like, wow, this guy's got his shit together.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
totally.
I couldn't run for that. No one would vote for me. I don't know anybody. I would, I'd be made fun of. But like Graham was like this guy that's like, you know what? I'm going to run for class president. And you know what? He was class president. Of course, that's pretty cool.
Because if there's any one process in life that I've noticed is successful, is that you can decide what you want. And if you reinforce that decision every single day with a positive attitude and you act on new opportunities that will allow you to make it happen, one day you will make it happen. And Graham Curry has always known this, whether he was able to articulate it in such form or not. He has decided what he's wanted and he's gone after it and he's gotten it because he knew that he could go get it if he wanted it. And that's another big thing that has rubbed off on me, that like, you got it. You can definitely find a way to make that happen.
So, Owen, I want to be an NBA player. I'm just kidding.
Steph Curry, their bitch asses? Go to the gym all day, every day, and do nothing but shoot free throws. How about them? You could do that, dude.
Yeah,
how old are you?
I could. I'm 23.
You could definitely do nothing but play basketball all day, and you are capable enough that I think you could play in the NBA one day, but you just have to do it.
The thing is, you gotta have a little bit of self-awareness as well. Because I really don't want to be an NBA player.
Exactly.
I'm just goofing.
Exactly.
I'm just goofing.
But if you decided that you did actually only want to do that, like I think that Gary Vaynerchuk will own the Jets.
I think so too. And if he doesn't, just the story of it. Graham said made his day.
You're the man,
Love
Graham.
you too, man.
All right, that's my gift to you.
All right, we're ending the podcast. We made Graham's day. We're out of here.
No, I was going to say, sorry though, bro. I didn't call you back. He called me the other day while I was at work and I had to silence him.
Hey, you know what? Maybe this makes
next
up for
time.
it.
Yeah, maybe. Love you, bro.
Anyways, what were we saying though? Something basketball. Gary
sports,
Vaynerchuk, Jets.
Yeah, he's gonna own them. Just like Steph Curry decided he was gonna, be fucking Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He just decided he was going to, and then he was like, swish.
Do you think I've never met Steph Curry? I've never listened to any of his interviews. I mean, I know who he is, and I know he's very, very influential and very, very important in the basketball world, of course. But I don't know if he ever, like, when he first started, thought he was going to be the best, or like thought he was going to make it, or thought he was going to play in the NBA. Like, but sometimes there's like that combination of, like, yeah, I'm really good at this. Maybe I could be the best. Now I'm going to try to be the best. Or was it like the first day that he picked up the basketball, was he like, I'm going to be the best at this? You know?
I can imagine that he thought that he was going to be the best. I can imagine that why else would you put yourself through so much training? He was from the interviews that I've seen, he was there first before everybody else, and he didn't leave the gym until he sunk 103 points. Or something.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, he had some goal like that, and you don't set things like that unless you know you're going to be the best. And then it's like, well, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'll do this over and 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 over again. Yeah. Because it means that I'll be the best. That's kind of,
I mean, like, not to toot my own horn here, but that's like kind of what I've been doing with this podcast too. It's like, who am I to start something? Like we were just talking about with Graham, he invited me to be on his podcast, and he just started one. Mm-hmm. So that gave me almost like the quote unquote permission
and
to start mine.
Yeah.
Because actually, we've talked about this before on the podcast. We were going to start a podcast together, and we recorded an episode on my phone, and like it's actually on SoundCloud if you go find it. I actually like went and listened to like 5 minutes.
10 points to anybody who commented below.
Yeah, if you can find the SoundCloud link and post it in these comments. But yeah, we like recorded a podcast, and the thing is we kind of like we recorded one, and then we were kind of like, and they just like kind of like fizzled out of it. Both of us just like, I don't know. But the thing is we didn't. At least for me, I didn't give myself permission to ever like make it big. I was like, we should try this. It would be kind of fun. Let's see if it works. But we never really tried it. And then once I saw Graham doing his thing, it like really gave me permission to like go buy like recording equipment and microphones and like actually try to make something professional and make something amazing and something cool and put it actually on iTunes and all this stuff. And I kind of just realized, like, if someone else can do it, then why the fuck can't I do it?
Yeah.
And I think that's the mentality that more people need to have towards everything.
Everything all the time. Yeah, so it's like... And if, like, there is anything that's holding you back, it might just be that you're weighing too much on other people's opinions. Like, anyone that's trying to go do something new, it's like to recognize that we're all innately different, which makes us innately the same, is another comforting thought. I feel like all these things that I'm talking about are things that, like, if you understand these things, like, you got it. Like, you can give yourself that permission sooner, recognizing that, like, everyone's different, everyone is struggling with their own things, and all the people that have successfully done things are just the ones that have continued to do the things that they wanted to do. They continued to do it, and it's just a nice thought. It's like you are in control and you can go do those things. And I just, wish everybody would do more.
Yeah.
I also wish that I would do more, but it's something that I've never been so hard on myself to say. It's like, because I'm not doing the things that I know I need to do, then I'm like bad. But it's like, well, I can still enjoy not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm still good at that, being able to be like, I should be doing this, but instead I'll learn a new song or I'll go outside and...
That's cool, because I'm definitely hard on myself when it comes to stuff like that. Like the other day, I made a bunch of content. I put out a podcast. I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I was still thinking about all the things I needed to do. But I was like, you know what? I did a lot of shit today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch some funny YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And like I was content with that. But then like a day like yesterday, I had a bunch of stuff to do, and I kind of dicked around all day and didn't accomplish all this stuff. And then at the end of the day, I was still sitting up at like 2 a.m, like, I need to do this thing that I've been procrastinating all day, and now I don't have enough time to do that thing, and now I'm pissed at myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like in that balance of being productive and like pretending to be productive.
Yeah.
And not actually accomplishing the thing.
Yeah. So that's what I've done. I've basically just tried to cut out the middle portion for myself, where it's like the pretending to be productive. I'm either being productive or I am most certainly not being productive.
How do you do that?
I have no idea.
Teach me your ways.
Right?
No, but
yeah, like I wish I had a great... that's something I'll think about, and next time we speak, I'll have a nice way of thinking about it that'll help someone else apply the same thing. But for me, it's like I call it productive procrastination.
Do you have like certain, like for example, when you're goofing around, is it in here, and then when you're working, you're in the office, and it's like separating those zones?
I haven't been in that office in so long. I've got this dope like little office like right behind me, but I just... No.
That's hilarious.
No, I sit down at my kitchen table sometimes if I need to get some stuff done. But yeah.
So it's not really separating out the zones that's helping you?
It's not separating out the zones. It's just an overall comfort with how things work, knowing that it's like, as long as I'm doing the little things that like are important, like that lead to the big things, I can totally drop off the vast majority of time on seeming to be productive.
Because one thing that happens to me is like I'll be working on something, and then I'll think of another thing I have to do, and then I start kind of working on that, and then before you know it, I have like 20 tabs open at the top of my internet browser, and I haven't accomplished any of the tasks.
If like, it's vicious, man. I totally know like that flow of events, what happens when you get there, and it's just the worst. See you later, Graham Bones.
Bye, Graham. Oh, nice.
Solo Chipotle, yes.
Never change. Hags. I love
Hags.
it. That's great.
Hey, you also have a great summer, my man.
Or spring.
Or spring. I like it. Springtime's coming.
Or winter solstice. I don't know. Anyways, what were we saying? You're having a bunch of tabs open.
Yeah. For the most part, I try and make sure that, like, if I'm about to get something done, I will get myself in the right mindset to get the things done. Like, usually that's just, like, putting my phone down and just spending a few minutes stretching, making sure my eyes were, like, not just staring at a tiny screen, and walking around, maybe smoking a cigarette just to be outside or something, and then come back in and sit down, put on some music, and then, like, that bit of music, whether it's, like, playing someone's album or putting on a record, it's just, like, I'll know it's, like, I have, like, until this music stops playing. So I'll get like an hour-long playlist on YouTube or something. But I won't like try really hard to make this stuff happen. This is just kind of the way it works out for me. And it usually is just like I'll play something, and if I have a 45-minute record, I'll listen to one side of it and, just get as much stuff done as I can. And usually I'll finish before it's over, and then I'll get up and I'll dance a little bit, and then I'll go, enjoy the rest of the day. I won't let myself...
That's awesome.
Get too engulfed in work, all just because I know that what I really want to do for the rest of my life is this kind of thing. Is talk, express ideas, share ideas, help people any way I can. And, I plan on doing some public speaking in the future. I've already done, 5 big speaking gigs over the last year. And it's just, why would I continue to fill my brain with neurological pathways that are being laid down with myelin that are things that I don't want my future to hold. I want my future to hold guitar, coffee, and podcasts with friends. And if I want my future to hold that, I also want my right now to hold those things. So don't give up too much of right now for something in the future, because it hasn't happened yet. It's not there until it's happening, but then it's no longer the future, then it's now, and then as soon as it's happened, then it's gone. So it's like, why not just enjoy the now, because it's the only thing that we're experiencing. You're not actually experiencing the future other than when you're meditating about it or thinking about it, which I think is all great things, and to like actively try and build a future that you're going to enjoy, but to do that in a way that you're enjoying the now, it's not worth doing things that you don't want to do, because of the way it literally litters the fields in your brain with things that you don't want there.
That's an interesting perspective about like making sure you never participate in things you don't want to do, because you're literally laying pathways in your brain for things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. But it's hard to recognize those things in the moment is like, oh, this is something I don't want to do sometimes,
Yeah. So then
like biting your fingernails. Because in the moment you're like, oh, a hangnail, I need to bite this.
And I've got the cure. For that, Andrew. It's 10 minutes a day of thinking to yourself, breathe in, breathe out. 10 minutes a day. If you think to yourself at that pace, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. If you do that for 10 minutes, you will inevitably go to so many other thoughts in your brain. But to then think to yourself, nope, redirect, think to yourself, breathe in, breathe out. That will allow you to do the things necessary to make your future happen. In the future, when you are sitting on your couch thinking, I need to get up and go do this thing, you are more inclined to get up and go do it if you had spent 10 minutes that day telling your brain to do something else. You know what I mean? If you're training yourself to listen to your conscious observer that is telling you, nope, go back to the breathe in, breathe out thought. Go back to that process. Do that thing. And the more you are telling yourself to do it, the more likely you are to get up off that couch and get your lazy butt moving when you know you need to.
That makes a lot of sense, because the monkey mind is always chattering in the background, making sure that you stay super distracted. But you can train it.
Totally. Monkeys, it may be a monkey mind, but remember that monkeys are not stupid.
They're very smart.
Well, they're pretty stupid too. They don't have the same level of intelligence.
It's crazy.
You definitely have to be smarter than monkeys, but that's why you need to train your monkey mind to do what you want.
You know what's crazy is like I heard recently that they've figured out that monkeys have started to use like sticks to kill fish and stuff like that. Like they're almost like in their own like evolution of what they're able to do.
Yeah.
Like instead of, because most animals, they don't use any tools to like do stuff. Monkeys have like figured out how to use like sticks and stuff
and
to
rocks
like kill
to, like,
animals.
That's intense. And I've definitely seen videos of them like opening up nuts and stuff by using heavier rocks to crack nuts open so they can get to the good stuff.
It's pretty crazy how intelligent monkeys are. But anyways,
but what's really crazy is how intelligent humans are.
Yes.
As a species.
And I think that mindfulness and meditation and stuff is something that's definitely coming more into the common realm.
Yeah.
It's becoming a more common thing that people are experiencing more. And this is actually kind of a segue into a subject that I wanted to talk about. I didn't mention it to you, but I know that you're definitely going to have some thoughts on it, is this subject of mental health in America. The fact that people are arguing about all this stuff about mental health and how we're not figuring out how to make people truly happy, how to we're not focusing on keeping people actually happy. I know that earlier we were talking about happiness and how you can create happiness, but a lot of this mental health debate is tied to this gun control debate that's happening in our country right now. And I know that we've actually had some kind of discussions about this in the past with gun control kind of stuff. And unfortunately, it seems like this problem has not gotten any better since we've talked about it. It's gotten probably worse. And it seems like people are kind of warming up more to the idea of having stricter gun laws and maybe figuring out better solutions. And I think that having conversations around this subject is really important. And I just talked a lot. So what are you thinking about all that stuff?
So first, I think it's to remember our grand philosophy in life that just about everything we heard about this and everything we know about it is more than likely wrong if we're to go back and look at the data. Right?
So everything we know about mental health and gun control is probably wrong.
For the most part, the vast majority of what people believe they know about both issues is probably wrong and based on false stories in each individual's perspective. Right? So that's kind of that. The first thing to do is to remember our baseline. Where are we? What is accurate? What is important information? Where are we at? So to say anything is, just my own opinion and his own opinion. Nothing's like, it's all just based on like what we could know and the way we can pull it together from our own perspective. And it seems to me like, without being too rude, a lot of it is a over fluffing from the media to get ratings because it's what everyone's talking about. So they're talking about so that everyone continues to talk about it. So they're only talking about the 20% of the thing that happened that is leading to 80% of the ratings. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's another Pareto's law. You can look back at that data and say they will be focusing on the 20% that gets the vast majority of ratings of any one thing that happens. And it's probably, and at that rate of it's called like the great imbalance, it's probably way more drastic than that. It's probably 1% of the actual event gets 99% of the ratings.
Yep. Like focusing on like for example in a school shooting or something, focusing on this school shooter and why he was so troubled and why he was so distressed and what led him to this moment and like focusing on him, rather we should be focusing on
the rest of the school and how they treated him and or whatever. Like,
yeah, and like listening to students and like interviewing students
that were like the kid's brain to find out that he was actually missing his temporal lobe. That's why he was so angry, because there was some weird metals in his brain that have collected together to create some kind of cancerous tumor or whatever it is. It could be that just the kid's brain is not working properly and it causes him to do crazy shit.
Yeah,
which is probably, so it's like, and at that point, we can talk about mental illness, but only if we know that he was physically healthy. Was his brain actually working the way that it was supposed to? And like, what else then could you gather to
and
find
also
out?
like what
then you'd find out that like if his brain was, he wouldn't have.
Yeah, and the other thing is that's interesting about like what is your brain supposed to act like? You know, we can take an average, like, okay, the normal brain would act like this, but this guy's brain acted like this or whatever, and that can kind of give us a picture of his, like, quote unquote, like, mental health. But at the same time, like, some people's brains are not average at all, but they're super smart and they're geniuses. And then there's some people that are maybe even on that level of spectrum of being a genius, but they use it for evil, and they're just like an evil genius or whatever. Or there's some people that are good, and like it's hard to say whether being like mentally healthy, quote unquote, leads to always good things anyways, you know, because you could say someone like, you know, Jeff Bezos or something is actually creating the next Skynet that's going to take over the world, and it's going to be this evil thing. Or you could say he's creating this amazing system for everybody that's going to be able to allow us greater access to the food we need, he's gonna eventually spread it to third world countries so they'll have better access to clean water, you know, just like whatever it might be, you can spin it in either direction.
Yeah, it's just really intense to think that, that people are talking about this subject and these other subjects as if we know
exactly what the problem is.
Yeah, as if we know like anything about the situation. It's like, and that we're clumping them all together as like a similar situation as like a different shooting, when it's like, we just don't know, man.
The other thing that's kind of interesting that like is really fucked up is you can tell the type, like, you could look at a lineup of kids and be like, that kid's going to be a school shooter. Like, doesn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like a look to,
and to their friends, they can
like, I really hate to be that person that says that type of thing, but like literally the other day I was at the gym and there was this dude, he was kind of like a skinny, nerdy kind of white dude. He was wearing like a Call of Duty shirt. He had like a weird, like,
dude, you know what
his
I think?
hair was all weird. He probably didn't have very many friends.
School shooters show almost no interest in violent video games. That from like the ones that were doing it, when they were asked about it, they're not interested in those things. They're they're doing other things. You know, it's if you're into violent video games, you're probably a pretty normal person.
Yeah, that's true, because I like violent video games too.
Me too.
Yeah, but it wasn't the Call of Duty shirt that was like the thing that I was like, that guy's a school shooter. It was more just like the way that he looked. I was like, oh man, like that guy looks like he doesn't have friends.
Yeah, but it's really important not to act like that. And not to act on those thoughts. I understand that you'd have them and you'd think that way about somebody, but when you do, it's very important to go then make a connection with that person, because like, oh, if this person is that type of person, then what they probably need is a witty gesture, maybe 5 minutes of chit chat of just something random at the machine next to him, or maybe not. You know, maybe it's something you can explore by seeing if they need a friend and being that friend for that person. But the most important thing is to recognize that if you do have that kind of instinctual thought about someone, whether it's that or there's like, oh, that person's like just sad. You know, it's important as humanity to give them reasons to
live and like
not be that way. To think like, hey man, like what's up? I'm a human. I'm here for you. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? It might be the thing that changes someone's life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. Haley's watching. What's up, Haley?
What's up, dude?
Dude. So one thing that I was thinking about is like, there's a big conversation right now around gun control and keeping like schools protected from this thing, because like schools seem to be the number one target for that. Do you have any ideas that like maybe they're being discussed, maybe they're not? Like, I feel like you have very unique ideas on this type of thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this type of thing? Like, how can we protect kids that are in these schools? Because it's not like every kid in that school, it's like, well, you should have been that guy's friend. Well, in the most recent shooting, he had like already graduated, blah, blah, blah. Like, none of these kids that were in that school had anything to do really, who knows, with that shooter guy. But at the same time, like, what can we do in schools to protect like these innocent kids? Because if I was a parent right now, I'd be kind of scared.
Yeah. So I would raise my hands and shrug my shoulders.
No, yeah. I mean,
I don't know, like about the actual protecting the kids in the moment. You know, I've seen those door jam things and little bulletproof rooms that can be secondary reading rooms for like times it's not being used as a protective shelter.
It seems a little excessive.
Kind of thing. But I think it's kind of a good idea because it's like something that can be used throughout the year, and it's not necessarily just for that, but if you need to, it's there. I think that's kind of cool. But I think the most important thing is to replace detention with meditating. And I think that's probably the most important thing, because if you can catch those kids after they hit somebody and be like, yo, let's sit and teach you what meditating is.
So instead of detention...
Yeah, instead of sitting there and yelling at them, no, sit back down. Shut up.
Some sort of like self-reflection.
Yeah, sit there and breathe, and have the kids sit there and be quiet and to close their eyes and to just breathe. And
how do you get people to take that seriously though? Because like somebody like that is gonna be like, I'm not gonna do that pussy shit. I'm not gonna sit there and breathe, man. I wanna.
Oh no,
be
you
angry.
Just tell them like, okay, it's like I'm. I mean, I don't know. You just gotta catch them at the right time. Then at those times, like you gotta be like, listen, dude, like this is your punishment for that. The only way to, or like whatever. I mean, I have no idea. Obviously, each situation is 100% different, and we need to have people that if there was a teacher that was in charge of doing this each time, those people would be the one to get to that kid to tell them, it's like, yeah, we should actually try this real quick.
Interesting.
And so it's just a way of meeting them at their mindset, similarly to anytime you need to persuade anyone of anything, whether it's marketing or just trying to help someone be better. The idea of persuasion is to meet them where they're at and then help them, hold their hand and walk them through the steps it takes to get to where they need to be in order to sit down and breathe and reflect.
Another thing that I think it would be hard to implement that into like a high school right now. Like it'd be very hard to just be like, all right, now we're going to do this mindfulness thing. But I think it would be interesting to start it in elementary schools and slowly
go with that new age group.
Yes,
totally.
Exactly.
Have them all be raised that way. I think that, yeah, you definitely can't just like drop a bunch of kids in there and have those kids go do that thing. But you can obviously tell them, it's like, hey, the younger kids have started this thing. It's like, and give them the option. You can either sit here for 1 hour or you can come sit with your eyes closed for 10 minutes. You get to choose which your detention is. And those kids will be like, I'll go try that one, and then they do it, and they find out.
But you have to take it seriously. Like if you make noise, you have to go to the normal ISS or whatever.
They're met at the door that says, "Listen, if you're coming in here, you're not allowed to say a word, and then you just have to follow the instructions. And as soon as you get up, you're free to go."
Huh? That's pretty interesting. That's actually very, very interesting. Because that's another thing that
it all goes back to how the neurological pathways of your brain is your perception of reality, and in order to get to that, there's a calmness that needs to be felt. It's the reason why if the man exists, and if there is actually a bloodline from not the Valerians, I can't remember the name of the aliens that came down and changed the genetics of humankind in ancient Sumeria.
Well, we don't even know their real names anyways. It could be anything.
Yeah. It could be anything. But according to the ancient Sumerians, it was the
venereal diseases.
That's it. No, I don't remember what it actually was. But either way, there was aliens that came down and they modified the human genetic code in order to give us the higher intelligence that they got in ancient Sumeria, which has led us to where we are today. And if that's the case, then the ancient bloodline that could be perceived as the man, which has then been the royalty bloodlines that haven't been breeding with like the rest of people, and that might still be part of that alien DNA, like continuing on, then one of the main things that they would be using, if that were true, to control the masses would be the idea that people are easier to control when they're frictioned and frazzled and all upset about things. If they're vibrating, like at a faster, I'm not sure if it's faster or slower or whatever, but I think faster frequencies is like fear. Like if you're scared, you're moving all quick and you're easier to control. Like if someone's like really mad at you and you want to make them look silly, you get them to charge you and you stick your foot out. You get them to charge you. And once they're doing that, then all their movements coming at you, you move out of the way and you stick your foot out and they fall. Right? So that's basically what the man would be trying to do to people, is they would try to get us all razzled up by producing media that gets us scared for our children's lives, that makes us think that ISIS could come in and bomb us and murder us at any moment. All those different things that they're scaring us with, that like all the people that we've, like all the historic figures we've ever known are all rapists and evil. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're scaring us into trying to vote for better and different people or whatever. If that's the case, then the answer to that is calmness. Finding that calm and giving kids the opportunity to choose, I can go into an hour of fear of being sitting here thinking over and over again about how the things that I've done led me to detention or whatever, or you can just do 10 minutes of quick calmness and it will have a bigger effect.
I like the idea of giving them a choice.
Me too. I think that's a big one.
I also like how we went straight from detention to aliens like real fast.
Well, yeah. That's a big part. That's a big part of my life.
But I actually really like that idea of like giving them the choice of like, okay, you can be in ISS for like a day, or you can go do this mindfulness thing. Because
that takes way less time.
Yeah, and I actually heard about this teacher that was starting to implement mindfulness stuff in her first graders. And like, if you think about like a first grade class of like rowdy boys, like getting them to actually sit down but it was actually crazy. She said after like a few months of doing it, they all loved it and they were all ready. They all knew how to get into that zone.
Yeah.
Because kids are so teachable.
It's amazing.
Like you can get them to do what you want them to do eventually.
Yeah, especially if you give them reason to think that it's a good thing. Just like they're not going to touch a hot pot because it's like it burned. Give them a reason to and they're gonna eat the candy because it's sweet, it tastes good. Give them things that are good, that they enjoy, and meditation is a good thing. So if you can gift that to a child, they will fall in love with it like they do candy.
That's amazing. Oh, this is a weird question. Do you want to have kids? I feel like you do.
I want to have a bunch of kids. I also want to be a foster parent. I think to like teenagers one day.
I feel like you'd be good at that.
Yeah, I want to have a bunch of kids of my own, but then after they're all like out and doing things, I'd like to have teens that can come to.
So after you have your own biological kids, you'd want to do the foster kid thing.
Yeah, or at the same time and like teach my kids. It's like, hey, we're helping this other child out. Like they need us. We're here for them right now, and all that kind of stuff. But then also to be able to be there for kids that. And I'm not going to like force them to do things one way or another. I'm only going to be there in support to be like, yo, I know it's crazy that you have to try and do all this. Like, I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
but I'm here for you, bro.
Yeah. Haley said that takes a special kind of person to do foster care. And I agree. Like it definitely takes the right.
It was my wife's idea. She first brought it up to us. Like,
wow.
Brought up to me thinking like that's something that she wanted to do. And I was just thinking, it's like, I'm so on board, dude. Like, whatever you want to do, like, I think that's a great idea. That would totally make me happy, and I could totally see that making other people happy. So I'm in.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's like foster care has always been something that I didn't fully understand it, but it's always been like a very like it's kind of it's different than adoption, of course, because adoption is like you're probably adopting them from a very young age, so it's like almost like you've been with them the whole time. But a foster parent it's a daunting task because, like you said,
you don't know where they're coming from or what they've experienced before.
Yeah, because all those pathways that we've been talking about this whole time have already been formed, and especially a lot of times foster kids have gone through a lot of trauma. They've gone through a lot of loss. Potentially, maybe their parents died, or maybe who knows why they ended up in that system. But redirecting those pathways and reforming the way they think about the world and about life and helping them and that's another thing that I've heard about that happens with foster kids is like they don't understand why you're doing this because they feel like the world has screwed them over their whole life.
So to be able to tell them, it's like, hey, I just have spent a significant amount of my life looking into how the world works and why things are the way that they are, and I've found these different things, and it's led me to the point where I think that I need to be giving this information to people, and I get to help do that with you. We got another little comment from Haley that said, this is very true. At most times they acquire more time, love, and attention. They require more time, love, and attention. That's very selfless, and shows a lot about you and your wife's character. And that's mostly just from... obviously that's largely imparted on us. I don't know what the word. I'm trying to use good words, but
that makes sense.
It's given to us from our parents because we both have religious parents. We were both raised in like the Christian faith, and the whole idea of like loving first and all that stuff has been kind of a strong thing for us. But to now take that and recognize that it, along with everything else in life, is under our control, it's important to express that and to share it. And that's why when Andrew texted me yesterday and asked if I want to be on the podcast again, I was immediately like, yes, of course. This is another platform for me to kind of share these ideas and to kind of help other people recognize that all you got is the love that you got, and you can give it away, and you probably should, because you'll get more because you have more. It's like how money is made. It's how the wealthy make money. They don't like if you buy a house, or you contract a bunch of people to build a house, you pay all these people to build the house. So that money goes to them and they've got it. But then once the house is complete, you still have the money from that in that house. Mm-hmm. All probably more than you paid out to do that. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Like you were able to provide, like you were paying for this thing to happen, and then you still possess that thing.
Totally. So,
and then you can sell that thing.
Yeah, that's like love is multiplied just like wealth. You give all that you have to everybody else around you, and you'll find that what you have is more love for yourself and for everybody else around you because of the act of doing it. Because you built the house with these guys, they all have the money, and now you still have a thing worth more money.
That makes sense.
So that's why it's important to recognize that what you have, you've got it. It's yours. You own it. You can give it all away and you'll still have all of it. You can give all of it away and you'll still have all of it.
People are selfish though. they don't realize that's the case.
Which is ridiculous, because I feel like I'm the most selfish. I feel like with how much I give, I know it's because the more I give, the more I get. It's like I currently own everything there is to own everywhere all the time. I'm currently the most wealthy, successful dude that's ever existed, just because I know that I'm giving it all away. It's like I don't have any of this. Like I don't care about any of the actual stuff. That's not what makes me wealthy. That's not what makes me successful. It's like I know that if I needed money to go do anything, I will always be able to get that money from friends and family, sell something to make that money, or invest in something that turns my money into more money so I can go do that thing. It's like there's 1,000,002 ways to do it, and it starts by recognizing that, 1, you got it all, 2, you can give it all away, and that you will still have it all.
Dude, I feel like this is a good place to wrap things up. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I feel like Jesus just spoke through me on that one.
That was, seriously. Yeah. But you said earlier the question. I like this idea of like putting a question out there.
Yeah, and I want everyone else to respond to this.
Yeah, in the live feed, and also once I put this post up on like Instagram and stuff, I'm going to put that question in there as well so people can comment in there. As well. But what was your original question?
I think I'm sticking with what if you're not missing anything? But I don't really know. That doesn't really have a good answer.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what would you like?
Like the question is, what if you're not missing anything, or like what? But the real response would be like, what are you missing that's gonna create happiness in your life, or maybe like.
Right, so that's the exact opposite of the question, you know what I mean? Like, if that's, the question isn't...
What do you think is the thing that's holding you back from creating real happiness or something?
Right, so, but the real, like, what if that thing doesn't exist? How do we get that question, you know what I mean? Like, what if that thing that you think you're missing what if you're not actually missing it? What if you actually have it and you have a way of going to get it? Like, I just, like, what's a unique way you have of, I don't know, instead of what are you missing, what is something unique that you have that can allow you to get things that might be perceived as missing? But that's a mouthful of a question.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We'll reformulate the question, and I'll make sure to put it like in the outro of this podcast, and I'll put it in the Instagram and stuff. We'll formulate the question.
Yes,
and
but it's going to be something about
concise.
Recognizing and giving us some bit of information that you have that makes you uniquely different and uniquely able to achieve all the things that you want to achieve. But we'll package that up in a sweet little...
Indeed, in a one sentence.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it, dude. If people want to follow you or catch up with you or connect with you, what's the best way they can find you?
Find me on Facebook,
If you're watching live right now, he's linked in here, but I'll make sure to link him in the show notes.
Yeah, I think
if you're
I'm
listening
at
to this
Owen
later.
James Lutz on Facebook and Instagram.
I think so too.
And then you can always, if you find one of them, you can always find the others. Mm-hmm. Follow me on Facebook. If you click that little follow button, I think I got 104 people that follow me at the moment.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
I don't really do, and it's funny because I don't really do anything yet, but I know one day I'm going to be sharing a lot more, and I'm so excited about it. So,
For sure.
Yeah, follow me around, click on my shit, and let's chat. Hit me up if you want to talk about any of these ideas, because I'd love to help you understand them. If you feel like you could implement any of these in your life to improve your life or the lives of others, hit me up and we'll chat and we'll make it happen. And if you also want me to speak at any of your things, let me know and I'll come talk about those things.
Boom. Dude, I love it. Well, thanks again for being on the show.
Dude,
and,
you're the man.
I'm glad. Dude, first person to be on the podcast 3 times. Thrice.
They call me Captain Thrice in high school.
I don't think that's true, but...
No, I also dropped out of high school, so there wasn't even enough time for them to have known.
All right, well,
so yeah, Haley, thanks for hanging out for so long and for commenting. You're dope.
There you have it, folks. Another episode in the books. I want to thank Owen again for being such an awesome guest. And make sure you follow him on Facebook. He seems to be most active there. Big things, big ideas coming from that dude's noggin. But I think his question was boiling down to what is stopping you from being happy? Like, is it all in your head? Is there something actually stopping you? What if you already have it all within you? I'm going to be throwing up a post on my Instagram, so go leave a comment with your thoughts on that. My Instagram handle is @ADpodcast. Again, I want to thank Brooke Watson from Keller Williams Chattahoochee North for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Please consider checking out her website, BrookeWatson.House, to connect with her about all of your real estate needs and to support the podcast. It helps us both out. It would be really helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, I would definitely recommend going back to listen to episode 10 and episode 42 to hear more from Owen and I. Episode 81 is coming up next with Stephanie Jewett. I knew I said that on episode 79 that this would be episode 80 with Stephanie, but we pushed back our interview, or our conversation rather. Hate the word interview. Pushed back our conversation a little bit later in the week, so I'm going to be meeting with her tomorrow. But she's the creator and founder of Actively. That's an app designed to help you find workout buddies in your area. It's really cool to see what she's done as a founder and how she's helping inspire and empower other women. Very exciting stuff. That episode will be coming later early next week. If you want to support the show, best way to do that, go to iTunes, rate it 5 stars. That really helps me out. Also, what helps the show is just sharing it with your friends. You're talking about podcasts. Feel free to throw my name out there. That'd be really helpful. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful forms of advertising. So if you really do enjoy the show, please share it with your friends. That's really helpful. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, go to my website, andrewdeitch.com. You can find all the links to all my social media handles and accounts and everything. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Burnt Bread podcast. They're back in action. If you want to listen to a lot of, if you listen to a lot of podcasts and you want to have a couple of laughs, a couple of goofs, definitely check them out and use promo code BurntBread9393 at all participating Blockbuster videos to help support their show. You just open the door and scream BurntBread9394 and you get 5% off. So definitely go check out their podcast. It's really great. And thanks for your support, everybody. It really means a lot to me that you're all listening. That's all I got. Thank you for sticking it out with me, and I'm very, very excited for what the future holds. And I will see you guys next week. Chilling with my friend Owen.
Holy shit, look at that hawk. No joke.